Hello everyone, my name is Nam. Today I will continue the mini story of Mama's Boys. Now let's start.
Who are Mama's boys?
Tony and Dan.
Tony and Dan.
Tony and
Dan
Dan.
are Mama's boys. Is Tony a Mama's boy?
Yes.
He is. Tony is a Mama's boy. And Dan is also a Mama's boy.
Yes. Tony
Mama's
and Dan.
boy
Also the Mama Boys.
means
It means
boy who
depends
on his mother
depends
too
on
much.
Yeah, depends on.
Not independent. So a mama's boy is a boy who is not independent. A mama's boy is too close to his mom, to his mother. So a mama's boy is a boy too close to his mother. Or a mama's boy is a man who lives with his mother. In America, not good. So a man who lives with his mother, we say mama's boy.
Yes.
Tony and Dan are mama's boys. Is Tony independent?
No.
No, he's not. Tony's not independent. Tony is a mama's boy. Is Dan independent?
No, Dan also.
No, he's not. Dan is also a mama's boy. Is it good to be a mama's boy?
No.
No, it's not good to be a mama's boy. It's bad to be a mama's boy. Who are mama's boys? Tony and Dan. Tony and Dan are mama's boys.
Tony and Dan.
Do they live with their mother?
Yes.
Yes, they do. They live with their
do.
mother.
They do. Yes,
Sarah
they do.
is sick of the situation.
Sorry,
She thinks
sick of...
they're adults. They should be living on their own and not still living with their mother. I'm going to kick them out.
I'm going to kick them out.
Is Sarah happy?
No.
No, she's not happy. She's sick of the situation.
She's sick of.
What is she sick of?
She's sick of about
Well, she's sick of Tony and Dan living with her.
Because Tony and Dan living with her.
Why is she sick of the situation?
Because they are adults.
Well, because they're mama's boys. They never help her.
Yes,
And they are adults.
they're adults. They never help her.
Does she like her boys to be mama's boys?
No.
No, she doesn't like her boys
She doesn't
to be
like
mama's boys.
the boys.
Does she have enough money?
No, because
No. She doesn't have enough money. Why not?
because she retired.
Because she's retired. She retired from her job. Now she doesn't have enough money. So she's sick of the situation. She's tired of the situation. She doesn't like the situation anymore.
Yes.
She's sick of the situation. She thinks they're adults.
They are adults.
They should be living on their
They are
own.
adult.
Not still living with their mother.
They are adult.
Where should they be living?
With her mother.
Well, on their own.
Yeah, on their
How
own.
should they be living? On their own.
On their own.
Should they be living with their mom, or should they be living on their own?
They living on their mom.
Well,
With
they should be living on their own.
should
Who
be.
thinks they should be living on their own?
Sarah. They should be living on.
Sarah thinks
Sarah.
they should be living on
Should
their
be
own.
living on their own.
And who should be living on their own?
Who?
Tony and Dan.
Yes.
Tony and Dan
The
should
mama
be
boys.
living on their own. Why should they be living on their own?
Because they are adult.
Because they are adults.
They are
Because
adult.
they are 23 and 26. They should be living on their own. Where should they not be living?
Not
With
be living.
their mother.
Where?
They shouldn't be living with their mother. They should not be living with their mother. Should Dan be living with his mother?
No.
No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't be living with his mother. Where should Dan be living? On his own. Dan should be living on his own.
On his own. His own.
With his mother.
With his mother.
So,
on his own.
What is Sarah gonna do?
Kick them out.
She's gonna kick them out.
Yes, kick them out.
Future. Gonna. Future. She's gonna kick them out. Who is she gonna kick out? She's gonna kick out Tony and Dan.
Tony and Dan.
Why is she gonna kick them out?
Why? Because they're adults.
She's gonna kick them out because they are 23 and 26.
They're adults. They
adults.
Don't have her.
Is she gonna make them leave?
Yes.
Yes, she is. She's gonna make them leave. Is she gonna make them live in another place?
Yes.
Yes, she is. She's gonna make them live in another place. Can they live with their mother in the future?
No.
No, they can't. She's gonna kick them out.
No, they can't.
She's gonna make them leave. She's gonna force them to leave. So during dinner that night, Sarah tells the boys, "It's time for you two to take responsibility. You can't live with me anymore. I'm not going to cook for you. I'm not going to clean for you. You need to grow up and get your own apartments."
Get your own apartment.
Oh, sounds like my mother.
Yes.
Just joking. So when does Sarah tell the boys?
So during dinner that night.
During dinner. She tells the boys during dinner. And where does she tell the boys? Well, in the house, right? In their house. Dinner in their house. What does she tell the boys? Oh, she tells them they must leave. She tells them they must leave the house. She says, "It's time for you two to take responsibility." Does she want them to be independent?
Yes.
Yes, she does. She wants them to be independent. She says, take responsibility.
Take responsibility.
Means be independent. Be strong.
Be strong. Be strong.
Who needs to take responsibility?
Sarah.
Tony and Dan.
Tony and Dan. Who?
They need to take responsibility.
Tony and Dan too.
Why do they need to take responsibility?
Because
because they're mama's boys. They're 23 and 26.
They're adults.
It's time now. They need to take responsibility. Who wants them to take responsibility?
Mom, Sarah.
Sarah. Sarah wants them to take responsibility. She says, "It's time for you two to take responsibility. You can't live with me anymore.
You can't live with me anymore."
Will Sarah cook for them anymore?
No.
No, she won't.
She won't. No, she won't.
Anymore. Tomorrow, will Sarah cook for them?
No.
No, not anymore. She says, I won't cook for you anymore. So tomorrow, no cooking. Next week, no cooking. She won't cook for them anymore. Will she clean for them anymore?
No.
No, she won't.
No, she won't.
Clean for them
She won't.
anymore.
No, she
She
won't.
won't cook for them anymore. Who won't she cook for?
Who? Tony and Dan.
She
Tony
won't
and Dan.
cook for
Yes.
Tony and Dan anymore. In the past,
In the past?
would she cook
Would
for
she?
them?
Yes. In the
Yeah,
past?
yeah. In the past, she would cook for them. But in the future, she won't. She won't cook for them in the future.
In the past, she cooked.
She would in the past, but she won't in the future.
She won't in the future.
She said, you need to grow up and get your own apartments.
You need to grow up and get your
Who needs to grow
own
up?
apartment.
Tony and Dan.
Yes.
To
Tony
grow
and
up.
Dan need to grow up.
Why do they need to grow up?
Because they are mama boys.
Well, because they never cook,
Yes.
they never clean,
Never look
they
cook.
never help their mother, because they're mama's boys.
Yes. Because they are mama boys.
Is Sarah retired?
Yes.
Yes, Sarah's retired. How much money did she used to have?
How much money? So, a lot.
Enough.
Enough.
She used to have enough money for everyone. For Tony, for Dan,
Oh,
and for herself.
enough.
But now, she doesn't have enough money
Yes.
for everybody. Who does she have enough money for?
Sarah.
She has enough money
For
herself
herself.
only.
Only.
Who needs to grow up?
Dan and Tony.
Tony and Dan need to grow up. Do they need to be adults? Or do they need to be children?
Need to
They
be
need
adult.
to be adults.
Adult,
Right? They
yes.
need to be mature. They need to be adults. Tony and Dan need to grow up.
Need
Tony
to
and
grow
Dan
up.
need
Yes.
to be mature. Tony and Dan need to be adults. She says, you need to grow up
Yeah.
and get your own apartments.
You need to grow up.
How do the boys feel?
So terrible.
Oh,
Very
they're
upset.
upset.
Yes.
They're very upset.
They're very upset.
The boys are very upset. They complain. They rant and rave.
Ran and rave.
Do the boys yell? Yes, they rant and rave.
They rant and
Why
rave
do they rant and rave?
because they are very upset.
Because they're upset.
Yes.
Why are they upset?
Because
Because their
the
mom
mom
is
want
kicking them out of the house.
kicking them out.
Is Sarah kicking them out?
Yes.
Yes, she is. She's kicking them out. Do the boys complain?
Yes.
Oh, yes, they complain.
complain.
They rant and rave.
Ran and rave.
Do both boys rant and rave?
Yes.
Or only Tony?
So both boys.
Both boys.
Both
boys
both
rant and rave. They
boys.
yell, they scream, ah, very loud.
Yeah.
They rant and they rave.
They ran and
Who do
rave.
they rant and rave at?
Ask
Well, they rant and rave
At
at
to-
Sarah. They
to
yell
Sarah.
at
Yeah.
Sarah. They rant and rave at Sarah. They complain to Sarah. They rant and rave. They say, you are a terrible mom.
You are a
How
terrible
can you
mom.
do this?
How can
We're
you
your
do
children.
this with your
It's
children?
not fair.
Will
Oh.
your children?
Do they like Sarah now?
No.
No. They think she's a terrible mom. Is Sarah a terrible mom?
No.
No, she's not a terrible mom. She's a normal American mom.
Yes, it's normal American mom.
Are the boys mama's boys?
Yes,
Yes, they are. They're mama's boys.
they're mama
Oh,
boys.
no. So what do they say? They say,
They said,
you're a terrible
"You're a
mom.
terrible mom."
How
Yes.
can you do this? We're your children.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
What kind of mom do they think Sarah is?
Terrible mom.
A terrible mom. They think Sarah's a terrible mom. And where are they?
Okay. Where are they?
They're in the house. They're in the house with their mother. And when does Sarah tell them?
When?
During
In the
dinner.
Yes,
She tells
in
them
dinner.
during dinner. What does she tell them?
She tells her it's time
She
for
tells
you
them
to
they must leave. She tells them they must get their
Must
own
get-
apartments.
yes, to take
And
responsibility.
what do the boys do?
Rant and rave.
The boys rant and rave.
Rant
They
and
rant and rave
rave.
and yell, "You're a terrible mother. How can you do this? We are your children. It's not fair." The boys continue to rant and rave for 57 hours without stopping.
57 hours without stopping. Yeah, so that is the part 2 of mini story. See you.